Hello everyone, welcome to Full Moon Movies. Some action films explode onto screen and fade away with a smoke. Lethal Weapon does something far more difficult. It entertains while quietly unpacking grief, loneliness, and the need for human connection. Watching it today in 4K, nearly 4 decades after its release, the film no longer feels like just the birth of a buddy cop genre as we know it. It feels like a deeply human story disguised as a high octane action thriller. At the heart of Lethal Weapon are two men who should never have worked together, yet desperately they need each other. Martin Riggs, played by Mel Gibson, is introduced as a reckless, volatile, and seemingly fearless. But beneath that bravado is a man who has already given up on living. Riggs is not addicted to danger because he loves chaos. He's addicted because danger makes him feel something. His suicidal tendencies are not treated as a spectacle, they are woven into his behavior, his unpredictability, and his quiet moments of despair. In contrast, Roger Murtaugh, portrayed with remarkable warmth by Danny Glover, is the embodiment of stability. He has a family, a routine, and a strong sense of responsibility. But his famous line, "I'm too old for this," is just comedic. It reflects exhaustion, fear, and the pressure of holding everything together. Mata isn't afraid of action, he's afraid of losing what he has built. Now, what makes Lethal Weapon resonate is how these two characters aren't opposites for the sake of humor, but they are two halves of emotional survival. Riggs represents what happens when grief is left unattended. Mata represents what happens when duty surpasses vulnerability. Their partnership works not because of clever banter alone, but because each man fills a void the others cannot. Writer Richard Donner deserves immense credit for balancing the tone. The film moves effortlessly between intense violence, humor, and moments of quiet humanity. Donner never allows the action to overpower the emotional arc. Even the shootouts and car chases feel grounded, dangerous rather than flashy. This restraint is part of why the film still holds up. The screenplay by Shane Black is sharp but also deeply character focused. Black's writing understands that comedy works best when it emerges from personality and not punchlines. Rick's dark humor, Murtaugh's exasperation, and their evolving trust create moments that feel earned rather than scripted. The film doesn't rush their bond. In fact, it allows it to form through shared trauma. What particularly striking on rewatch is how Lethal Weapon handles masculinity. This is a film about men who are allowed to be broken. Riggs cries, Murtaugh admits fear. Neither is portrayed as weak for doing so. Now, in the late 1980s, this was quietly radical. The film suggests that strength isn't about surpassing pain, it's all about surviving it together. The villains and plot are functional rather than memorable, but that's intentional. The drug smuggling conspiracy serves as a pressure cooker for the characters rather than the film's central appeal. The real stakes are emotional, whether Riggs will find a reason to live or whether Murtaugh will allow someone into his carefully protected world. Now, seen in 4K, the film gains new clarity without losing its grit. The Los Angeles streets, nighttime shootouts, and interior lighting reveals more texture and depth. Grain is preserved, maintaining the film's analog character rather than polishing it to something artificial. Skin tone, shadows, and practical effects benefit from the resolution without betraying the era. The 4K presentation highlights how tactile the film is. Explosions feel physical, gunshot sounds weighty. There's a kind of rawness here that modern digital action films still often lack. Now, this is an action staged with bodies, not pixels. Danny Glover's performance in particular feels even richer with time. Murtaugh's home scenes, like his interaction with his wife and children, ground the film emotionally. These moments remind us what's at stake. Now, Riggs isn't just joining a police partnership, he's being invited into a family. Now, that invitation is the film's quiet emotional payoff. The final act doesn't end with triumph, it ends with connection. Riggs doesn't magically heal, Murtaugh doesn't become reckless, instead they choose to move forward together. Now, that choice is what makes the ending resonate. Compared to later entries in the franchise, the original Lethal Weapon remains the most emotionally grounded. The sequels lean more heavily into spectacle and comedy, but this first film carries a weight that never really fully recaptures. It's the only entry where the danger feels personal and the violence feels consequential. In hindsight, Lethal Weapon helped to define an era of action cinema, but its true legacy lies elsewhere. It showed that action films could be about grief, healing, and found family without losing momentum. It proved that vulnerability would coexist with toughness. Watching it today, Lethal Weapon feels less like a relic and more like a reminder of a time when action film trusted audiences to care about people, not just explosions. In 4K, the film doesn't look just better, it feels more honest. And that honesty is why, decades later, Lethal Weapon still fires through. Now, this movie is a must watch.